Hi, this is David Ng with the Los Angeles Times. I'm here with the singular Jeff Goldblum, who is joining us from the Amundsen Theater in downtown Los Angeles, where he is currently appearing in Seminar, written by the great Teresa Rebeck. And Jeff has been gracious enough to join us. He's performing through November 18th at the Amundsen. This is his Los Angeles theater debut, I'm told. However, he did play this role on Broadway recently, earlier this year, and he is reprising the role again. Mr. Goldblum, welcome.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. It's so gracious of you to have me on your lovely thing here, whatever you call it. What do you call your thing?
A Google Hangout.
Google Hangout. Google Hangout.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
So maybe we can start just by your describing the character you play in this comedy.
I'd love to see if anybody's interested in coming down. I encourage you to. I love it myself. That's why I'm doing it. If I wasn't in it, I'd see it. I saw it many times before I was in it. Alan Rickman, you know, originated the role on Broadway, and I loved it. You said the great Teresa Rebeck, and I couldn't agree more. She is something special, and this play is smart and deep and poetical and poignant and inspirational and sexy and very funny. My character, now that you asked, I'm called Leonard. I'm this teacher. It's about a class that I give, my character Leonard gives in contemporary, in our time right now, in Manhattan, in this young lady's apartment on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. It's her father's apartment, really. She's been living there. She's in her, I teach this class to 4 people, to her and to another lady, around late 20s, 30, you know, and another guy and another girl, two girls and 2 guys. And the setup is that I'm going to go to this apartment over the course of 10 weeks, once a week, and give them classes in creative writing. I'm a mysterious and complicated character and figure that we find out through the course of the play, but I was at one time a very celebrated and much admired successful novelist myself, and then something happened mysterious. We find out through the course of the play, perhaps I self-sabotaged. We actually find out, I'll tell you a secret at the end of the play, that I'm a hypersensitive fella with social, psychological issues of one kind or another. And I'm brilliant, you know, the play says, the brilliant writer, and Anyway, I've turned to teaching, and I show up with these people. They've paid me $5,000 for these 10 weeks, and I'm going to teach them. They're ostensibly interested in how to write fiction and make novels themselves. I am of a school, tough love, scared straight kind of teaching, kind of group therapy teaching, where we all get down to our, so to speak, psychological underwear and are real and authentic with each other and brutally honest. And I, when I read their material, am brutally honest with them. And as it turns out, it's very difficult for them, and we don't know if I'm having a good or a bad effect. It finally turns out that I'm wildly, miraculously effective and insightful. And I am, when I deal with each of them, I can laser photograph, I can take an X-ray of their innards and their soul and their creative motor and tell them who they are in terms of their creative life and what they need. I'm very good, but it's very stormy, because it's tough. And I'm of the unconventional way that even if that they should be having sex with each other, it's like group therapy, and I wind up having sex with a couple of those girls, with the 2 girls in the class. I don't want to give anything away.
I'm assuming that takes place off stage.
What?
I'm assuming the sex takes place off stage.
Yes, it is. It's off stage. It's off stage. There's a kiss or two, and some sexy embracing that one might see, and even some body exposure.
Okay.
I won't give away who and what,
right.
But there's some ribald and outrageous and provocative sights and sounds. So anyway, that's my character, you know, and I can't do it real justice because Teresa Rebeck is brilliant. You have to see it unfold brilliant moment by brilliant moment. We try to do it justice. I do in my own humble way. It's very educational for me, this play. It's like taking a class. And in fact, my character, we find out, is on the brink of transformation himself. And along with everybody else who learns plenty from this class, I myself do too. What do you think of that?
Well, I think people should go and see it.
I think so too. It's very funny, and like I say, it's inspirational too. Somebody was just talking to me who saw it a couple of days ago, and they said, gee, after all is said and done, I wanted to go and write. I left that theater going, yes, it's hard. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a real commitment, an unusual kind of passion, and you know, it's scary. It can be scary, but I want to write, damn it. And you know, I think that applies to anybody in any creative field who wants to do anything. I can imagine you could see this play and go, I want to act. I'm going to act. I'm going to dance. I'm going to paint. I'm going to do or pursue whatever I have a passion about that I might be frightened of, including my romantic passions. We see a couple of, in this play, two of the younger people who have long been in love with each other in an epic, soulful, beautiful way, but are too frightened to kind of make a move toward it because it's so sensitive, vulnerable making to put yourself out in that way that they have not been able to consummate their long time romance with each other. What do you think of that?
Oh, I think that's giving a lot of people a lot to think about. One of the, I think a lot of people who might be watching this know you best from obviously the movies, and specifically certain movies like The Fly and Jurassic Park and Independence Day. A lot of people may not know that you have done a good deal of theater in your past. You've been at the New York Shakespeare Festival. You've been on Broadway in The Pillow Man. For you, what draws you back to the theater? Why did you want to do this play here? Why theater at all?
That's a good question, David. Well, I'll tell you. Acting, you know, my life in the creative arts and acting has changed my life. I'd be a different kind of person if I hadn't found that, you know. And I found it early on when I was a kid. I saw children's theater, in fact, and when I first thought, what are they doing? And I want to do that, and maybe I can do that. It was theater, really. So I have a romance with the live theater, the smell of it. I've had a great time. I go back to, I see theater everywhere in New York and London. I see it here. I have a great time in seeing theater. So I'm a big fan of theater. I'm more, sometimes I can be a very mushy, susceptible fan of stories of all kinds, but theater, when you're there with a bunch of people and it's dark and live actors are there on the stage, it just feels like a very naive, beautifully abstract and poetic thing that somehow can get right into my deepest soul and gut, and I have a great time. So I'm drawn to do it, but I'm drawn to do terrific material with interesting people wherever it is. That's mainly probably at this point. And with this time, this play and Teresa's material, you know, there's few movies, television, anything that are as juicy and meaty and challenging and humbling and educational and fun as this is. And the director is Sam Gold, whom, if you don't know, is a hot director, has been for years. He's a young guy in New York, and is prolific, fertile, and brilliant talent, and has done many things. And so I wanted to work with him too, and that's been a very special experience. And this cast, may I mention Aya Cash and Greg Keller and Lucas Nierver-Brugge and Jennifer Akita, are very special, and working with them, whether it would TV or whatever we were doing, would be something that I would be enormously lucky to be doing. So all of that, and the character is interesting to me. The issue of the classroom is very interesting to me. I've had teachers that have made a big difference in my life. I studied with Sandy Meisner when he was around at the Neighborhood Playhouse in New York. Some people know him, and William Esper was a great teacher that I studied with. Mordecai Lawner, Peggy Fury out here I studied with. at the Loft Theater on La Brea, if people remember that. Her daughters now teach. Anyway, I admire teachers, and I've had a great, they've changed my life, and I've studied piano, and I've had a good, that's changed my life, and I currently study singing with a great teacher, Joel Ewing, in fact, and these people are spectacular, and I have a great time. And then I teach myself for the last long period of time whenever I'm not working, and I adore that. So I loved this play about learning and teaching.
So part of our Google Hangout today, we're going to convey you some questions from our readers. Yes, and one of them is apparently a big fan of The Fly and David Cronenberg. And so he wants to know if you are planning to make a sequel to The Fly, which the first Fly, as everyone knows, came out in 1986, I believe.
1986, long before I was born. Oh no, I must have been born then. Yeah, thank you very much. I agree. I'm a big fan of David Cronenberg's. Gee, I'd like to do anything with him. I follow all his ambitious and high integrity and brilliant and unique work along the way. And we were on a jury together at the Cannes Film Festival some years ago. I like hanging out with him. He's a delightful, a brilliant, special person. So I'd love to do anything with him. And The Fly, I don't know if they'll make another sequel of that. They did this opera, as I'm sure you know,
yes,
that I missed somehow. I was working at the time, so when it was produced, I didn't say that they made an opera of The Fly. And David Cronenberg, in fact, did you see it, David?
I did not, but it was here in Los Angeles, just next door to where you are now.
Oh, I wish I would have seen that, but maybe I'll catch up with it someday. Anyway, whether I'm in it or not, I'll see anything that David Cronenberg does, and if there's another Fly, I'll see that too.
One of the things a lot of people want to know about you is, obviously your science fiction films, but one of the things I read that people might be interested is that you did a production of The Music Man in Pittsburgh, your hometown, a few years ago, and I don't think a lot of people know about that, and it seems like a kind of peculiar project. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Sure, I can. Maybe it was peculiar, but I was very into it. You know what I was doing with all this new technology where you can make a movie yourself, as we know you can. When I started, you needed 50 people at least, and everybody set it up. But now we know that anybody can make something that could be consumed widely. I wanted to, because I like the idea of what musicians do, which is play every day, and I like the idea of acting every day, and even making something, doing film acting every day. In any case, I started to fool around with something and tried to come up with a story, as people I know many people are doing, and produced and got these wonderful directors, Kyle LaBresh and Chris Bradley. We did this movie called Pittsburgh, finally, that was about, I knew I wanted to go back to my actual hometown and play a kind of parallel universe version of myself. I play a character called Jeff Goldblum in the movie, and some things are invented and acted, and some things are in fact happening, and we don't know what. But it's called Pittsburgh, and in this movie, this Jeff Goldblum character goes back to his hometown to do a 2-week production, summer production of The Music Man, if you know it, to play Harold Hill, because his girlfriend at the time, who might be in it too, could stay in the country. She's from Canada and needs a green card. And that's the tale of this movie, and that's along with, one might see the movie and ask, did I really do that production? Well, in truth, I'll give you the answer in the back of the book on that count. Yes, I did. There was a production, in fact, in Pittsburgh, and I did it. And I've always been a fan of that musical anyway. Are you? Do you know that musical?
I do, yes. Yeah.
Do you like it? I'll bet you'd be good in it.
I don't think so. But it goes back to what you were saying, that a side of you that many people may not know about is that you have a singing career, a music career as a musician.
It's a well, yes, I've sung and played in some of the things that I've been professional, it's in my acting life. But I have always played piano, and I love music. And many years ago now, we started to play out and about. I have a jazz group called the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra, and we play when I'm not working out and about. And after I finish this play, November 18th, I go to Paris to do a movie with Jim Broadbent, and Roger Michel is directing it. And then I come back here over Christmas, and I'll have a gig or two. If you go on Mac Africa's website, she usually promotes it. The Lexington Social House is where we were last playing. I think we're going to play at New Year's Eve someplace, but look up Mildred Snitzer Orchestra or Mac Africa, and you'll find out where we're playing. Please come. We have a great time there. I play with great musicians, great jazz musicians, and we play, and I sing. I like to sing, and I like to study voice anyway because it has to do with everything as far as I'm concerned. But I enjoy playing. Yeah, so please come, you Los Angeles folks, and come and see us play, because a lot of people come and they have a good time.
One of the things I was kind of curious about, you've acted alongside dinosaurs and aliens and various digital co-stars. Does that get boring after a while, or is that something that you feel that has become so associated with you that it's become second nature?
Well, let me see. Look, acting always has some element of, it's not a reality show, you know, there's always some element of imagination. When in this play, you know, there's a set, but when I open the door, I pretend that I'm coming from Somalia and up the stairs. And in fact, there's just a flat in the back of the thing. So in acting, there's always an element of something that's not what it is supposed to be, and you pretend. Yeah. It's a game. And so really just green screen stuff and, oh, there's a dinosaur there or there's an alien there is just an extension of that same game. Although in those Jurassic Park movies, you know, Stan Winston, the brilliant guy when he was still alive, was doing the puppeteering, if you call it that, the live special effects. As you know, half of it was CGI, and you acted to nothing, and they put it in later. But some of it was right there, and so that was easier to act to, and very interesting and artful. He was so brilliant. So I liked all of that stuff, and those particular movies, of course, with Steven Spielberg, there was nothing boring, as you suggested, about it. He was fascinating and is interested in character and story and movie making, and is brilliant. And as was Roland Emmerich, who directed Independence Day. And there might be they're trying to come up with more of those. In fact, speaking of sequels, and The Fly, I don't know about, but Independence Day, I know there's a real effort by Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich to perhaps do something more with the continual story of that. What do you think of that?
I think you should do it.
Oh, I'd love to do it. If they did it, I'd love to work with them again. Yeah.
We have a greeting from a reader in Italy who says who was complimenting you about The Big Chill.
Oh, grazie. Piacere. Piace di fare la sua conoscenza. Did I say that right? I don't know. But you're complimenting me on The Big Chill?
The Big Chill.
Oh, thank you so much. I like that, Big Chill. That's a good movie, 1983.
Yeah.
Can you name all the cast members in that?
I think I could.
Really?
Yeah.
Sleepy, Grumpy Doc. Oh, no, that's another cast. Okay.
Kevin Kline. Glenn Close. William Hurt.
You know, Kevin Spacey does it, with whom I did Speed the Plow at the Old Vic a couple of years ago in London. Does a great impersonation of Bill Hurt.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's great. I'm a sucker for impersonations. I make him do it every time I see him. Bill Hurt, Jo Beth Williams, Tom Berenger, Meg Tilly, Kevin Costner, Mary Kay Place.
Yes.
Oh, come on, what a group.
Yeah. We were talking about your early Robert Altman films before the conversation started.
Yes, sir.
And we're talking about great Los Angeles films, and maybe you can talk a little bit about that, being that we are in Los Angeles, and you were in some pretty great LA films, The Player, briefly, but you worked with Robert Altman 3 times, I believe, or more, 4 times. You were in Beyond Therapy, I believe.
Beyond Therapy we did in Paris, but here we did The Player and Nashville. I did that movie in 1973, 74. A lovely movie that I recommend that people see. I should see that again. I haven't shown my girlfriend Emily Livingston that movie. She should see that. That's
She
something.
should. Yeah, it's quite a motorcycle you're riding there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. That was pretty good. That's when I first learned magic.
Yeah.
I went to the Magic Castle last night. The whole cast bonded over a little event there, and I almost brought my magic rope to do some of my tricks, but I didn't. But National and then California Split that we were talking about. So yeah, I did those 4 movies. He was a genius, and I was very lucky to have worked with him early on. And it's world and cosmic and a universal, but a Los Angeles figure he was. What a wonderful place this is. I love Los Angeles. You know, we were talking, I grew up in Pittsburgh, and then I moved to New York, and I go all over for work, but my home is here, and I love it here. It's vast and mysterious, and I've loved movies that we were talking about before. You know, Chinatown, I keep watching. Gee, that's a gorgeous movie and a very touching movie. Do you know what Jack Nicholson says? Here, I'll give you a quiz. The last line, of course, I'm sure you know, is "Forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown." But before then, you know, the lieutenant is saying, "Get him out of here, get him out of here," because he's got this, as Faye Dunaway is now so darkly dead from this thing, Noah Cross, and it's just, oh Lord, it's just too spectacular, that end. But he says, and Jack is there, Nicholson is there, not weepy, but you know he's got a deep, sensitive soul. He's a tough guy. He's a hard-boiled guy, but he's the most romantic, sensitive, soulful guy. And he says, you know, to Faye Dunaway earlier on, he says, you know, I tried to Chinatown, don't talk to me about Chinatown. I was in with a woman, and I tried to do good, but really my just trying just made it worse, finally. And it's happened again. We see this at the end of this movie. And he says, and in bed he says to her, he says, so I have a credo now. I'm paraphrasing, I'm just remembering. He says, I do as little as possible. Just do as little as possible. If it's futile anyway, if it's going to wind up for the worse anyway, if everything is futile that you try, just do as little as possible. And at the end of that movie, he sees Faye Dunaway there, and he goes, as little as possible. And the guy says, what? What did he say? Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown. I love that movie. And then we were talking about Mulholland Drive. Ooh, I could watch that over and over again.
Yes.
David Lynch. That's a brilliant movie. I love that.
So we're almost done here. And,
no, don't say it. I'm physically sick. I'm upset. I'm getting upset.
Maybe one final question from a Facebook reader is what's on your personal iPod, if you have one? They'd like to know what you listen to.
They would. You cheeky devil, you. Well, let's see. A lot of things. You know, I do have an iPod, and I have some, you can imagine, some jazz collections there. I like my Thelonious Monk records a lot. You know what I have on there that moves me if I need to be moved or if I want to listen to it? One of the saddest, most beautiful songs is from Elephant Man. Speaking of David Lynch, you know that song Adagio for Strings, I think it's called.
By Samuel Barber?
Is that it?
No.
Is that it? I'm an idiot in many ways. I should know, but play that song. You'll know. I think it's Adagio for Strings, or play the end of. You've heard it in other movies. It's been used in other movies too. At the end of Elephant Man. Yeah. It's very touching. And then I have musicals. I like the musical theater. Did you see Light in the Piazza when it came out here?
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah.
Did you love it? I loved that musical.
Yeah, I did. I did very much.
Yeah, that killed me too. I love that. I liked listening to that, and Odd Things. I have odd things on there, as you can imagine. You know, all kind of things.
Okay, well, I think we're wrapping it up now. So, again, thank you, Jeff, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, David. You're so nice to do this. Yeah, I hope it's all going to come and go very quickly. But I hope we've invited. You know, the result of this will be that I see a few more people here. I'd love to see them down here.
All right, and so you heard it from Jeff. Seminar playing at the Amundsen Theater through November 18th. Your last chance to catch him. before he heads off to Europe to make a few movies. And,
yeah, I do that. I do that Roger Michell movie, and then I go with that with Wes Anderson and make that Grand Budapest Hotel in Eastern Europe.
And we can't wait to see both. So so Jeff, good luck, break a leg, and best of luck with the play.
Thank you, David, so much. I'll see you soon.
All right, take care.